10.
Yes, Ring Kings podcast is back. And look, Ferris is already, he's nodding his head so hard, man. He's just bumping his head. Listen, you guys can't see it, but when that intro is playing, all four of us are just nodding our head to the beat. Like it's our first time hearing it. Okay.
Amen.
Shout out to Verse for hooking us up with that.
I can punch a rhinoceros.
And shout out to Danny on the intro too. And like, I love that picture of Amir Khan and the referee's right in his face, like he's taunting him, telling him it's over.
Yes,
over. It's over. It's done.
You're done, son.
Allegedly, Amir Khan. We don't know who that
is.
Yeah. Initially, we had planned on doing like a contest so you can name all the silhouettes, and we would give something away, and then we were lazy.
Yeah. We still have a T-shirt from the Teofimo fight that we didn't give away either.
Oh yeah,
I don't think anybody wants it now.
Nobody wants it. Okay,
maybe we'll give it away anyway. Okay. Anyway, we are back. Okay.
There's some Teofimo fans out here.
Dad.
Yeah,
we saw the Teofimo fans at the fight. Half of them started booing him. More than half. They
serious?
They listen. New York fans. They are unforgiving. Okay, you better show up. Okay, and I agree. It was freezing cold. Okay, we came out there to see a fight. Xander Zayas took care of business.
Nobody booing Xander.
Right.
Nobody booing Jared.
Keyshawn Davis took care of business. Okay, they came to see the takeover. They had the Honduras flags out there. They were ready to support this guy, and they were up until about the third, fourth round. They're like, man, boo. Anyway,
he's Honduran.
Yes, he's Honduran. Yes. Okay, it's been a while since our first pound for pound list came out. Listen, if you are into pound for pound lists, okay, this is the only one that you need. Don't look at ESPN. Don't look at Ring Magazine. Don't look at CBS and all that other nonsense. You come right here. All right. This is the one list that you need. And we are giving you our updated pound for pound list. Now, a couple of things. This is for fun. All right. And they're all for fun. It doesn't matter what site that you look at. It doesn't matter what YouTuber that you look at. Okay. This is all just people's opinions. We're giving our opinions. We want to have a little fun with it. So please, don't get too emotional in the comments, because people, you put a name on there, you leave a name off, and it's like you personally attack them. Okay, if you have your own list that you, or a name that you want to see on the list, put it in the comments. All right, or send us, or tweet at us or whatever you want to do. Just be respectful. That's the one thing. Also, like B said, we're gonna try not to make this 3 hours like we did last time. Okay. Okay. We got 10 names here. B is going to go over the list. First of all, shout out to Ferris for coming through. Appreciate you, Ferris. Okay. Ferris is starting to become a regular on here. He joined us to do the Casino the Dream documentary, which was an amazing documentary, by the way.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Yeah, sheesh. Yes, sheesh.
Ferris, noted advocate of the word sheesh.
Yes.
Because we should all say it more.
Hashtag sheesh.
I don't think it's going to catch on, but
Amen.
You.
Our brother.
It's not fetch. I'm gonna make it happen.
There you go.
I don't know if this audience is gonna get that reference, but we'll see. We'll see if we have some crossover. Hey, can I say an honorable mention real quick?
Absolutely.
Honorable mention. Shout out to Knockout CP Freshmart. That's my honorable mention.
Knockout CP Freshmart. Yeah. Yes. That's what we need to do. A top 10 boxing name. Yeah.
Nicknames. Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great. That's a great list.
Knockout CP Freshmart.
Because number one would be Sugar. Because 4 people got that nickname.
CP Freshmart definitely making it.
Yeah. Also, Pechimeni CP Fresh Mart.
That's right. Yeah, that's the other one. There's two. Yeah, there's two CP Fresh Marts.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna bring that one back.
As well as Stephen
Mikey.
Fulton and Emmanuel Navarrete.
Yes. Yes. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? This should be interesting. You know, I just want to double back to what you said about the comments. Look, we do this for fun. But we can get ugly too in comments too. So, you know, we want to keep it respectful with you guys, but we welcome smoke. I say that on every stream. We welcome it if you bring it. But, you know, we like to keep it cool. You see these four guys, look how calm we are. Look how, you know, what should I say? Just look how well put together we are.
I've never ever been described as calm. No,
but you don't want to see the other side of anybody else on this stream.
Facts.
All right?
Facts.
Nah. In all seriousness, we do welcome discussion. You know, we like to see what you know, what your list and what you believe, what you think. But like Jose said, we don't do the disrespect part. So, but other than that, man, this is going to be fun. Shout out to B, who put together the format of how we come up with the list.
Yes,
I don't think any other place does it like we do it. So once this catches on, and other places start biting it.
Yes.
Clap it up.
Clap it up.
You know, we want recognition for that. You know, once it catches on, and once you steal our idea.
And if there are some people out there that have this idea, just ignore it. Just pretend that you never saw it, and we were the originators of this. Okay. Now, B, explain the system here, how we're doing the pound for pound list, because we don't know the list. Okay.
Yes.
Myself, Ferris, and Mikey do not know the list. Okay. We're going to find out as the audience finds out.
Right. Yeah. So how to put the list together is definitely in wide use. I appreciate you, Mikey. Appreciate that.
Hey, you didn't have to admit that, man.
No, we're just doing a reverse point system. Everybody sent in their top 10 pound for pound, and we compiled the list together and got our pound for pound list for the show. He's not on screen, but our guy Shug, who was on our Ali review, also sent in a list to be considered for the pound for pound. So shout out to Shug. Thank you very much. And like Jose said, you know, I'm the only one here who actually knows what the pound for pound list is right now. So you're going to get their reactions live in the video, and so you know we'll get their discussion or their opinions on whether guys are ranked too high, too low, or what have you. So we'll go ahead and just dive in. This guy coming in at number 10 was actually number 10 on our last list as well. There's a couple of people in the group here holding strong and keeping the Gypsy King on the list.
Oh my
Tyson
God.
Fury at number 10. He's 33-0-1 with 24 knockouts. And look, a great entertainer. He has wins over an old Klitschko and Deontay Wilder, who just recently learned how to jab. So props to him. He did not make my list.
And props to
on my list.
Props to Shug for keeping him on the list.
Yeah, Shug probably had like 5.
Not just Shug.
Yeah, he's on my list, but I'm looking at my list. I made a mistake too. I left somebody off, but we'll get.
Yeah, you did, because you added Tyson Fury on the list, Mike.
No, so look, let me explain. I think you have to have Fury there.
No, you don't, Mike. You don't.
He has to be there because he's the most. Even though, contrary to our opinion of him, he's the most box office boxer when it comes to the heavyweight division, which is lacking that kind of star power, and he for some reason he keeps it going. Now, I had him low on my list because now it's time to fight someone of substance. You got a lot of guys out here, he fought Wilder 3 times or whatever, cool, but now it's time to see Joshua, Usyk, and those type of guys. That has to happen. And if it goes back to Wilder eventually, cool, but he gotta get in the ring with one of those guys.
I'll tell you what, Mike. The box office list and the Oscar nomination list are two different lists, and that's for a reason. Because the Rock be on the top of one of them lists, but he ain't getting none of them golden statues. All right, Tyson Fury, he got to get in the ring. Like he hasn't fought anyone, and that's not entirely his fault. I mean, it's a very weak division, but he hasn't even fought the few guys who are there for him to fight. I'd be shocked, or I guess I wouldn't be shocked if we heard right after this that he had signed another Derek Chisora fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
bro,
it's just he's playing around
bro,
at this point.
Literally, man. If I see Derek Chisora one more time, if I see Fury Chisora 4, I'm gonna throw my TV out the window, Mike. I swear to God, this isn't like Juan Francisco Estrada versus Roman Gonzalez, where they've beaten each other. They've each gotten a victory. Tyson Fury's beat him 3-0, knocked him out twice. So
I think that depends on if Derek needs another payday. Yeah, that last one was
definitely
clearly
because Derek needs another payday.
It was clearly like, all right, bro, look.
And look, shout out to Fury for that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like
go fight somebody else though.
Yeah.
Well, because and also to Mike, you talk about box office and that. Yeah, you can be box office when every other heavyweight's boring. Besides the American who's crazy.
Yeah.
Always scary.
But
Deontay's. I retract my statement about Deontay Wilder. Let me talk about it. That man scares me.
No, but I mean, to B's point, right? The division is very weak, but for some reason, the heavyweight division has stayed like the most important for some reason, right? And boxing is at its greatest when you have a strong heavyweight division, which we haven't had in a while.
Mike, you're correct, because the reason it stayed is that everyone yearns for the golden age.
Right.
People are waiting for it, right? So boxing is that scorned lover you always go to back then. You still love her, but it's gonna break your heart, but you still can't walk away. You know what I mean? It's a very bad religion, and that's the heavyweight division in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't leave it because you're like, yo, what if I get a Lennox Lewis out of nowhere? But then you get a bunch of Otto Wallins, and you're like, okay, I'll survive Otto Wallin for 4 years because that Mike Tyson's gonna show up. He gonna show up, and then he hasn't showed up yet. He hasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like literally, like the three, Alexander Usyk, no offense, great boxer. I don't care about him, like personality wise, like box office wise, like he's
right.
Like hardcores love him, but like that's not who you're trying to get. You're trying to get like me or my brother or my like the guys who like watch it on occasion, but like are not gonna buy every pay-per-view. That's what you want. And when you're fighting Joshua, talk about a fall from grace. Like Jesus Christ, man, boring, gets knocked out left and right. And
I mean, I got a different opinion from Joshua. I don't think it's a fall from grace. He challenged himself. He took on, I think he's the best fighter in that division, that weight division.
Yeah, you have a good point.
And they were good fights. And even though, he took 2 L's in a row, I think everything's still in front of.
I think my expectation is throwing me off about him because I had high expectations for him.
But look, everything's still in front of Usyk. We'll talk about Usyk later, I'm sure. Well, I have a feeling he'll be in a conversation later. All right. But all right, okay. All right. That's 10. That's 10.
I'm gonna go ahead and say again, there's 10 names on the list. So we're gonna go through this pretty quickly.
Not off to a good start.
Yeah, we spent too much time on that guy.
I will say one last thing on the Fury. I think the other reason that people really look to the heavyweight division is, as Bud Crawford found out on Twitter, regular people think they can beat up smaller boxers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't think that about the 280-pound Tyson Fury.
That is true.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to number 9. Last time out, this was Shakur Stevenson, but we have a new number 9. He's got a mega fight, one of the biggest fights in all of boxing coming up in April. It's actually going to be announced during the Super Bowl halftime show. Well, during Super Bowl halftime tomorrow. Is not part of the show. But this is Gervonta Tank Davis coming in at number 9, 28-0 with 26 knockouts. He's got a fight coming up against Ryan Garcia. What do you guys think about Tank, Jose?
I think 9 is too low. Like, yes, he doesn't have the same belts as some of these other boxers like Haney and I think even Stevenson does he have belts? I know he just moved up. Does he have any?
No,
belts?
he relinquished his titles.
But he was
He was the super
undisputed.
featherweight champion.
Yeah.
He had all
What?
the belts at super featherweight.
There was
Not
like only,
all.
like,
Not
yeah,
all.
it was like what,
but
like
he had a
Which
few.
one did he not have? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I put you on the spot. Anyway, look, Tank.
super heavyweight shouldn't exist. I just want to point that out. I want to point that out.
But Tank. No, like accolades. He doesn't have all those belts, but resume wise, I think he has the better wins out of those other fighters. And I think he's the better boxer, right? So no, I'm not gonna. I do value belts, right? I know some people say belts don't matter. They matter to me to a certain extent, but it's not everything. It's a combination of all that. He definitely has. I think, like I said, the better resume. I think he's accomplished more in terms of who he's beaten. So I would have him a little bit higher on the list. But look, he's on the list at least, because I see a lot of these lists out there that don't even have him on there, and that's complete disrespect.
Yeah.
Ferris?
No, I agree. I completely agree. Looking at his, he's being Leo Santa Cruz, Mario Barrios, Isaac Cruz when he broke his hand and he had to box. Isaac like kind of in a like not a way he wanted because his left hand was broken, and then he just took Rolly Romero to like the shadow realm, and then he knocked out Hector Garcia, and seeing him like I've perused other lists of a couple. I saw one list that had Josh Taylor on it, even though Josh Taylor didn't win his last fight, but I digress.
Right.
And like I think the problem is with Gervonta, boxing media doesn't like Floyd Mayweather, and he was the money team's main guy, Gervonta Davis. So that hatred stemmed to him. That's why he could only fight for the regular lightweight title, like because he should have been already fighting for like the proper lightweight title. Like, I'm sorry, but the thing is, Floyd knows business, and he's like, we'll make more money this way. And those people are trying to screw us over because people don't like doing business with Floyd because they always want to try to beat Floyd.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want to do business with Floyd Mayweather. Bob Arum hates Floyd Mayweather. He has made it very clear he does not like him. I don't like doing business with him because I don't like him.
Well, not just Floyd, Al Heyman as well. Right?
Al Heyman doesn't like they don't like each other. That's why Davis hasn't fought for the proper belts. I've realized that, and he probably kicked Devin Haney's ass. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Devin Haney, my Muslim brother, but shit, Gervonta Davis is bad Majama. You know what I mean? He is not someone to be trifled with. He just not, man. Because like I remember watching the Mario Barrios fight, and I was like, man, let me see if he can actually beat up this bigger dude. Let's see it. And he took Mario Barrios out. Because he broke him down. Broke him down over long periods of time. Then the 11th, he was like, we're done. I'm going home. I'm not going 12. And he dropped Mario 3 times or 2, and then they called the fight. So because he dropped him in the previous round as well. So Davis, he good.
All right, Mikey.
That's my analysis. He's good.
Sheesh.
I agree with Zay. I think it's a little too low. And as you said, it's the list of the major publications are some of them he's not on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 4-letter network in their
ESPN
list, that he's not on, which is, like you said, disrespectful. But of course, I figured he would make our list. But speaking of box office, like this guy is probably the box office fighter in the sport right now. You got Canelo and some other that's going to sell out, but what he's doing from that side of it, he has to be on a pound for pound list, right? Probably, in my opinion, and this is not a Baltimore bias, but probably, in my opinion, the most complete fighter in the sport. I know we have some guys, Errol Spence and those guys, but from a top to bottom, from boxing IQ to power to being a pure boxer, he checks all of those boxes. And now you add to that list that he's selling out arenas. He's He's the celebrity's favorite fighter. He's he's the casual fans' favorite boxer, and that's when you got that, man. You gotta recognize that it's kind of like the GOAT talk in basketball, right? You don't just talk about what they did on the floor. You kind of you talk about impact outside of it, or any type of impact, and that's just the impact that Davis has on boxing right now. So you take Tank out of boxing, and you may have an issue with finding people that can sell out and promote the sport just off of their name. So Tank has to be on this list, but I agree with you, Zay. I would like to see him higher than 9.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. I think that he should be a bit higher, but that's kind of what happens when you don't have the marquee fights necessarily, right? He's got one coming up against Ryan Garcia, and I think he beats Ryan Garcia. I think he beats him fairly easily, and that'll do a lot to pump him up in these lists as well. I won't say he's the most complete fighter. I still think I'm still going with Canelo there. Even coming off of his recent loss, he just he reached too far. I think he let his ego get the best of him a bit there. But in terms of the skill set and everything, and even the popularity, I would still take Canelo. But I certainly hear what you're saying with Tank. He is one of the most popular fighters in the game right now. Much to Devin Haney's dismay. He's very upset about the popularity that Gervonta has. But yeah, I think that the next time we get together and do this list, he'll have a knockout of a Ryan Garcia on his resume, and I think probably we'll all have him rated even a bit higher than we already do. Moving on to
one more thing.
Yes.
Devin Haney's mad. Fight him.
Well, yeah,
fight him.
That's what people would normally say to a boxer, but Devin is not trying to hear that. Right?
Well,
Devin got other things on his mind. He got other things on his plate, but he wants to talk about Gervonta. He don't really want to fight him.
Right.
That's some soft shit.
So moving on to number 8, which was the spot previously held by Gervonta Davis. We have the first undisputed champion on the list. If you've seen our sparring sessions video, you know the difference between unified and undisputed means that undisputed means you have all of the belts in your weight class. Anybody want to throw a guess out there as to who it is?
It's Devin Haney.
Mike, you saying Haney too?
Yeah.
All of you are wrong. It is Jermell Charlo.
Oh,
at 35, 1-1 with 19 knockouts. Had a big time fight scheduled for this February, but unfortunately he got injured. I believe he hurt his hand, so they had to cancel the fight with Tim Tszyu. But he's a guy who's certainly earned his spot on this list. Who's gone out there and made the fights that he needed to make to get those titles and get that respect. He's still coming off of that outstanding win over Castano. And when you dominate a division the way he has, when you collect all the belts and you're the guy, that has to count for something. So Charlo's coming in at number 8.
Man, amen.
I'll go ahead first. Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I've started to get into. I'm reintegrating myself into boxing, right? Because of y'all. Again, I appreciate you guys because I forgot how much I loved this sport. And then I just talked to y'all. Yeah, and then I talked to y'all, and I'm like, damn, man, I love this shit. You know what I mean? And one of the
hold on, Ferris, and we appreciate the shirt you have on that. How does it feel?
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
How does it feel?
It's a great shirt.
Like cotton.
Hey, my God, it's like a sun kiss on the skin.
Right.
It is
there
tremendous. It is. Yeah, no, but but here's the thing. I missed the young cat's rise, right? Like I missed an entire I missed Bud and Errol Spence's rise. But when I got into it, one of the newer boxers that I'm like, yo, I like this boxer. You know what I mean? He brash, he a little arrogant. I love it. You know what I mean? He talks his smack. He got screwed over and then came back and beat the living snot at the man who screwed him. It's the Jermell Charlo, man. I love this, but I love him. I'm man. When the first fight I ever watched him was the Tony Harrison fight. The first fight I ever watched was him losing to Tony Harrison. And I'm like, I don't agree with this, but it is. I don't fully. I'm reintegrating myself into boxing. So like I won't dispute this because like I may have missed something. And then when he just beat the living snot out of Tony Harrison in the rematch, I'm like, yo, man, this dude is. And like I remember they were supposed to fight, then Harrison pulled out with a knee injury, is what Jermell called it, and he beat up the replacement guy, and he starts yelling at Harrison in the crowd. He's like, "I'm gonna kick your ass. You ain't running from me. I know you faking. I'm gonna beat the living shit out of you." And I'm like, "Hey, yo, where take my money. Take my money." And then him drawing against Castano, and then him saying, "I know y'all think I didn't beat this guy. Watch me take him into deep waters and drown him like a real like an undisputed champion does. Watch me." And I'm like, yo, it's my guy. It's my guy.
That's exactly what he did. That's exactly
my
guy.
Yeah.
He was again too low. You know, I had him high on my list, right? And listen, on my list, I had Devin Haney. Don't get me wrong, right? That's another person I expect to see on this list because he's another undisputed champion. But I think he has a better resume than Devin Haney. And, again, a fighter that I like in Devin Haney, I don't think Haney's fought anybody the caliber of Brian Castano. Right. And the way Charlo came back in a rematch after drawing and just putting all those doubts away, out of everybody's mind, the way he finished them, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made me a believer. So that shot him up my list for sure. But he is on the list. And look, all these fighters that we have on here are excellent fighters. But I just had him a little bit higher on mine.
Yeah. Again, another fighter that's being disrespected by a lot of these publications. He's not. I mean, how he's not on the list? I don't understand how you don't have a undisputed champion on your list. You know what I mean? I just don't. I mean, it's a feat that's tough in itself. So I think he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. It is time for him to make a decision on what he's going to do, right? Like we probably want to see him a little more active. So I did have him on my list, but he was around this spot. But definitely deserves to be on the list. I think he won the first Castano fight. And then I'm glad he came back and, basically dominated the second one and let it be known that, listen, I'm here. Another uber talented guy who, if he wants to, if he's focused, man, could run through anybody. Well, I'd put him up against anybody. Let's say that if he's focused the way that he needs to be. So, yeah, definitely deserves to be on the list. I'm glad to see him. I'm glad to see that. Yeah, and I'm glad to see the best pound for pound list in the game right now is recognizing that he should be there.
That's right.
Yeah, Batman pajama.
Right, moving on to number 7 is another undisputed champion on the list here. Another guy who doesn't get the respect that at least he feels he deserves. Talking about Devin Haney, who is undisputed champion at lightweight. He went to Australia to beat George Kambosos, then went to Australia again to beat George Kambosos again. He's done a lot of talking about Gervonta Davis, but obviously that fight's not happening. He's going to be looking forward to a Lomachenko fight, and we'll see after that possibly Shakur Stevenson down the line a little bit. But he is undefeated. He's coming in at 29-0 with 15 knockouts. Not the best resume in the world, but he like I said, we had those couple wins over George Kambosos, beat Jojo Diaz, an impressive win over Jorge Linares, who was a multi-class champion. So Devin Haney certainly as well, just like Charlo, has earned his place on this list by virtue of having all of those belts at that division, which was at one point, very recently, one of the most talented divisions in boxing.
Facts.
Yes.
Mikey, you start this one off.
Mr. Haney. I actually had Haney higher on my list just because I'm not feeling him with this new talking thing that he's doing, and it's just a bad look right now. But I have a ton of respect for what he did and going over there twice to beat Kambosos. And you know, if you go back, matter of fact, go back and watch our coverage of those fights. And prior to the first one, we all agreed that, man, he would have to go over there and have a dominant performance to get out of there with the win, because he, you know, Kambosos is at home. This is one of the biggest. They putting on this massive show, and he did it, right? So, and I think he did it in, as you guys have said, one of the more, if not the most, talented division. So, shout out to Haney, but he gotta get out of this new thing that he's doing with that talking, everything that he's called out certain boxers about, he's doing. So it's just not a good look for him. But I had him higher on my list. But yeah, another undisputed champ who, again, on another publication who he's affiliated with just recently is adding him to the list, which I thought was odd. But yeah, again, he's on this list, and that's why our list is the best.
All right, Ferris, what you got?
This
your Muslim brother.
Shout out to him and Stephen Fulton, my Muslim brothers. But yeah, I'm with you, Mike. You know, he had two, like you know, I watched great coverage, by the way, of the Kambosos fights. Great coverage, guys. So y'all should watch it. Go on this channel, like and subscribe. He outclassed him in both fights. He literally said, I'm gonna use the most basic tool in boxing, and I'm gonna show you can't even fight against it. He jabbed him to death in those two fights. And I'm like, the first thing you learn as a boxer is how to fight with the jab, not to stop the jab, because that's literally the first thing you try to learn. And he told George Kambosos, you don't know that, homie. I'm gonna come to your house, I'm gonna eat your meal, and I'm gonna take your house.
But obviously George does know that. This is stage 2 of deception, and we were waiting for that third fight.
Oh yeah,
where it's all gonna come back.
Yeah, it's all gonna come back.
Devin's not gonna know what.
Step 1 was missing weight. Step 1 was almost missing weight.
Yeah.
Devin not gonna know what happened to that third fight.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing about this though is, you know how like nowadays boxers kind of take a long way. Like they fight and they wait like months and then they fight again. You know, the Kambosos fight was like, one was in June, then the second one was in October. So like you had only like a couple of months of recovery and re-preparation for the second fight. So beating him in quick succession, showing you like, bro, it wasn't a fluke. I am better than you. See, I just beat you again with you having a couple more months. Like I didn't need a year. You gave me 2 months. I kicked your ass again. You know what I mean? That's why I find it impressive. And like, you know, like great video on the unified and undisputed, because I was very confused on that. Him being an undisputed champion does bump him up a little, and probably, you know, if you think about it, the third best division in boxing, you know, behind welterweight. Then you have one of the middleweight divisions, either super or regular middleweight. It's pretty good as well. In the lightweight division, you know, he's gonna fight Shakur Stevenson's coming up, because top rank is gonna win regardless. Either Loma beats him and Loma fights Shakur, or he beats Loma and he fights Shakur. So, you know, Top Rank is playing with house money here. So we'll know more about Devin Haney in the next couple of years when he's fighting those two guys. And by some miraculous, crazy thing, they do the Davis fight. Shoot. We'll find out who top dog really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think this is a good position for him though. I actually think seven. I think this is very good for him. 7.
Yeah, I think I had him around 6 or 7. So it's right around where I had him. And again, like, yeah, another undisputed champion. He deserves that respect.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you know, I downgraded his resume a little bit compared to some of the other fighters, but you know, it's not nothing going to beat George Kambosos twice in Australia, because the way Kambosos fights, you know, he's aggressive. He likes to come forward, and it's one of those things where if Kambosos found a way to make it ugly, yeah, we were kind of nervous about that in that first fight. Like if he can make it a little ugly, if he can mix it up a little bit, he can definitely steal some rounds in his hometown. And then, you know, even if he lost that first one, come back the second one with a different strategy back at home. You know, that's something that most people wouldn't do, right? And Devin Haney said, I'll take 2 fights in your backyard. That's no problem. And he dominated both fights to a point. I mean, the first fight, I don't even think Kambosos won a round.
I don't think he did either.
He didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he won a single round. And that second fight,
Also 0.
Yeah. But the second fight, Haney mixed it up more. Say, okay, you want to get physical? All right, I'll bloody your face up a little bit. So you know what's up. Much respect for that. But yes, we like to see more moving forward, and there's a lot of opportunity for him coming up here. He's supposed to be fighting Lomachenko. I don't think the fight is set yet, but that's supposed to be the next fight for him. I think he beats Lomachenko. Shakur Stevenson is there for him, and obviously the Tank fight if that happens. So there's a lot of opportunity for him to shoot all the way up this list. But I like this position for him.
Loma's still downloading.
Still downloading.
God, man, come on, Joe. Use a different word. Jesus.
All right, so moving on to number 6. This is actually where Devin Haney was last time. He dropped a spot in the pound for pound this time for us. At number 6, I actually had this guy ranked way lower on my list. I believe 9th or 10th. But he is another undisputed champion. Formerly the top pound for pound guy, Canelo Alvarez, coming in at number 6, 58, 2-2 with 39 knockouts, coming off a loss, almost a whitewashing against Dimitri Bivol. And then I was kind of taking some time to, get his mind right, get his health right, and get himself back on the right track. I think 6 is too high for him right now. I think he still has the talent of being a top pound for pound guy, but in his last fight, he's another one you can argue maybe didn't win a round. Maybe you give him 1 or 2 here or there, but
his last fight was Triple G, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mean his fight before, because the Triple G fight, nobody wants to see that. But in the Dimitri Bivol fight, maybe didn't win more than 1 or 2 rounds. You came back against Triple G. It was a fine performance. It
kind of a bounce back.
It wasn't an overwhelming performance or anything like that. It was fine. And now he's, like I said, taking a break before he tries to come back. And, possibly he says he wants to go after Bivol again, right? And if that happens, if he goes out there against Bivol and he's able to even just put up a better performance, I would say don't even have to necessarily win. But if you go in there and you're more competitive, you can argue for him being higher up on the list. But as of right now, given his last couple of fights, I think he's a little too high here.
Yeah. I forget the guy's name that they put out there that they're saying he's going to fight next. I think it was the guy that beat Daniel Jacobs, but I can't remember the guy's name. But solid fight, nothing special. But that's the thing that's kind of bothering me right now about Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's gotten a lot of criticism over these last couple of years for like the opponents that he's taken on. I've defended it a little bit because some of these guys I thought Caleb Plant obviously is an excellent fighter. He knocked out Caleb Plant. And I even think he was winning that fight, but I thought that was an impressive win that he didn't get a lot of credit for. Yes, we want to see him fight Jermell Charlo. I want to see him fight, Andre, and, fighters like that. But, I still had him up there. But obviously losing to Bivol the way he lost, it wasn't a, hey, the guy was just heavier than me. I took on, a guy that's just, too big. It was, he got outboxed. That's the thing that stood out for me. It's like, he just outboxed you. He came in there with a better strategy and you didn't adjust. So that knocked him down. And then going to fight washed up Triple G didn't do much for me either. It's like, okay, well, we know Triple G's 40 or 41 or whatever he is, right? So that didn't mean anything to me. And okay, you want to take some time, you heal your hand and all that stuff, but you're coming back and are you fighting Bivol next? You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I just looked at, they're saying John Ryder. He's taking that as a warm-up fight and looking to fight Bivol in September. So I'm not gonna. It's fine. Okay, not everybody's Errol Spence, right? Errol Spence doesn't take any tune-ups. Everybody else takes tune-ups, pretty much.
I understand that, but
that's whatever. But
in a world where you have Errol Spences, what I'm saying?
You're going to be compared to Errol Spence.
You don't have Errol Spences. You have Errol Spence.
Yeah. Facts.
Actually, you have two Errol Spences. Him and his dad.
but listen, I get it, right? It's
Damn right.
it's a yes, I know. I get it. Like, you know,
Sorry.
he needed to heal up, and he doesn't want to jump right into another big fight. But I mean, you're at the point in your career where we don't want to see tune-ups from you, right?
Yeah, man. Like
there's a lot of names out there that we want to see you fight.
There's
John Ryder ain't one of them.
I'll tell you what you want to
There's
see
three.
even less than tune up from him is him losing in Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, that'll be.
You definitely don't want to see that. Now, I mean, look, I'm not saying for sure that he would lose the
Whole
rematch to
country
Bivol,
started weeping.
but you're not putting that one in May.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Cinco de Mayo is a celebration.
Yeah. So you fight John Ryder on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Then you fight. No, there's three people I want him to fight. There's Dimitri Bivol. You know, if he wants to fight him, fight him. And then the two middleweights. It's David Benavidez and Jermell Charlo. It's them two. Well, those are like he's saying like where are all the super middleweights? There's two.
Yeah.
That are undefeated and can fight you.
To be fair, especially with Charlo, hasn't done a single thing to earn a fight against Canelo. Not one. Like we're talking about him fighting Triple G, and that's not impressive. Well, Charlo hasn't even done that.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and he's sitting there with belts in Charlo's division, and Charlo hasn't fought him.
I agree with that. I agree with that. However, Charlo is held in higher regard than Triple G at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it's been years
that
Triple G has had those belts, and Charlo's sitting there with one and hasn't fought him, and just said, "Hey, Canelo."
Yeah, he was stripped of his title because he had the WBC, and he hasn't fought since 2021. It's 2 years.
Yeah.
So like, bro, what?
But Benavidez is, you know, that's valid.
He got suspended.
Yeah,
he's a drug addict.
Benavidez has a big fight.
I'm talking about like steroids, not like other drugs.
Yeah, but Benavidez, you got Andre, you know, you got some guys that are held in high regard right now. That, you know, he goes and takes those fights and wins those fights. He's back up on a lot of people's lists, right? But we don't. I'm sorry, I just don't want to see John Ryder. I don't think anything of John Ryder, right?
I didn't even know who John Ryder is until you just said his name.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name.
Hey, I'll say this, and I'm sorry we get Mike in here. Maybe they know something about John Ryder you didn't know, because a lot of people said the same thing about Dimitri Bivol.
That's a fact.
That's true.
That's a fact. Yeah,
Mike,
absolutely.
what do you think?
Look, I mean, you got to have Canelo up here. I had him at 5 on my list, but I agree with you, Zay. Like, it's time. You know, he's one of these guys too that it's time. He got to start making, you know, some of these bigger fights, right? I think he's. Even though he's still fairly young, I think he's on the back end. I mean, this guy has a lot of fights under his belt. So I think he's on the back end of his career. So it's a decision he has to make, right? Am I just going to get these fights and I'm going to just make a crap ton of money, which he's going to do either way? Or is it going to be about legacy like he always talks about? I honestly don't want to see the Bivol fight again, right? I think some of the names that you guys mentioned, I'd rather see over that. You know, but I understand him wanting to revenge that, but it's risky, right? I think the first fight he got away with the pass from a sense of like nobody kind of held that against him, right?
Yeah,
okay,
that was the daring to be great kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
You shouldn't have won that fight,
right? But even though everybody had him going and winning it, right?
Yeah.
So I think you got to pass on that one. If he does this again and he loses, you know, then I think people are going to start looking at him a little differently. But we'll see which route he goes, right? I agree with you also today on the, you know, maybe Spence has spoiled us, but like I think he's on that level of top tier fighters where it's like, yo, come back and let's see you fight one of these cats. Fight the winner of Plant and Benavidez, you know what I mean? And something like that. We got to start seeing that type, you know, that type fight out of him. It's a lot of wasted space fights that we see with him. So it's just time, man. As a fan, I just want to see some of the marquee fights involving him.
You know, my hope is that, because what it looked like with Canelo was he got to the top of the sport, right? And he was, you know, going on a march through the weight divisions, beating champions, And I think the ego caught up with him, and he changed his style, right? As he moved along, he just started walking people down and trying to wear them down, just throwing big shots, fewer combinations than he used to do. And he was just, I'm the Terminator and I'm coming through you and you can't stop me. And he got it in the ring with Bivol, and he couldn't do that to Bivol. Bivol's much bigger than him. He's stronger than him, and is a great defensive fighter. And even all through those 12 rounds, no change in his strategy at all, even though it wasn't working. He just, he would try to walk him down and just pound on his biceps because he was blocking all the punches, right? So he would just, just swing at him. Hey, I'm going to wear you down eventually. Didn't happen. So my hope is that, when he said, hey, I'm going to take some time away, let myself heal, get back to it, that he kind of snapped out of that a little bit, right? And now realizes he's got to change things up. Maybe he doesn't beat Bivol. I think that's a tall order. But even if he doesn't win that fight, maybe he does come down and say, okay, now I got to deal with some of these guys who are, in this weight class where he is the undisputed champion at 168. So maybe he does come after that Bivol attempt, come back down and say, all right, well, I will take the winner of Benavidez and Plant, or I will go after Andrade, or whoever it is at that point. But we'll see.
Yeah. Also, to John Ryder's credit, he is the WBO interim super middleweight champion, so he does have
going after them straps, man.
So he's
how can you say
trying to unify all the belts? So he has something to his name. Sorry,
all
man.
right.
Okay, that should just irritates the shit out of me. I'm sorry. Is there